let's talk about making 75 simple. That's what we're going to do today. This is Tina Lorenz, and I'm outside here in Tucson on a rare, cloudy, rainy day. And my microphone quit working, and we have a truck out in the street, but you know what? I'm doing this anyway because I'm going to keep this simple. So what I was thinking about, there's something called 75 hard. That's like 75 days of strenuous exercise and dietary changes. And I thought, what if 75 could be simple? And so what I'm going to do is have these kind of free-form days periodically where I just talk about something that I've learned in 75 years on Earth. And it occurred to me that I could be talking to my younger version of me. But here's what really shocked me was when I realized the younger version of me could be the age that I'm encouraging other people to begin at, which is in your 50s. And all of a sudden, it's 21 years from when I started. I was right around 53, 54 when I started online, when I started as a copywriter marketing strategist. And all of a sudden, there's this whole new perspective that happens at 75 as I'm looking back on the road that I've traveled on. And so what I would say, one of my perspectives that's changed so much is that if you're past 50 and you're feeling like it's too late, am I too old? Oh my gosh, no, you are not too late. And you still have time. You have lots of time because you're actually still pretty young as I look at it over my shoulder from 20 some years ago. And the other thing that kind of threw this into perspective for me this week is that our son came to visit us for a few days. He flew in and just to be with us for a couple of days, so it was amazing. And yesterday was his birthday, and he just turned 48. And as I'm thinking, my son is 48. That's only a few years from when I started online, and he just still seems, he's a man, all of that. But in a sense, he's still very young to me. I tell him, you still have so much time to do all the things that you want to do. And so let's shift that perspective, because at 50, you're kind of in this magical place, or beyond. If you're 60, if you're 70, still not too late, still right on time for what you're meant to do. Because what we bring to this is that life experience, the lived experience and the perspectives of that. I was talking to someone who became a client this past week, and I had the most unexpected thing happen while I was on the call getting acquainted with them. And as they were telling me, I'm going to keep this a little vague because they don't really want to disclose what the client's working on, but it really has to do with bringing people together and with lineage and with perspective and with what I call ancestral intelligence. And as we were talking, first of all, I got chills. I call it my chillometer when something's really coming through. I often say things come from me, but they also come through me. And I believe that's a divine source, that divine wisdom that's built into us that we can access, we can allow to flow through freely, and I acknowledge it. And so as I was acknowledging that, I suddenly was absolutely shocked to realize I was going to start to cry. Now, this is on a professional call for working together, and I was kind of mortified at the same time, and I realized, oh my gosh, it was one of those moments. And I said, I'm so sorry, I was apologizing profusely. This doesn't normally happen. But you know what? That individual also felt it. Even though we were on Zoom, even though we were many miles apart, a virtual connection was a very real connection, and that individual felt the emotion and experienced it as well. And it was such really just a special, special moment of our whole body system, our spirit, our soul, acknowledging the importance of the work that they're doing. And I think it takes the perspective of 75 to be able to do that without feeling like I've totally lost it, I've messed everything up, and it didn't mess anything up. It actually connected us very deeply. And I'm so excited about the work that we're embarking on together. And so one of the 75 simple things is just allow yourself to be you fully and really understand your whole nervous system is speaking to you. Your whole spiritual core is speaking to you. Your heart and soul is speaking to you. And listen and pay attention. Pay attention. It's so easy for us to think, oh no, I can't do that because this is professional, And I'm not saying you're going to go into the boardroom and start crying or something like that, but I'm saying for where we're at, where people like us are at, where we are looking for that lifestyle freedom, where we're experiencing something where we want to have the impact, we want to connect in a deeper way, we may feel like we have a deeper message that we're meant to bring into the world, or a deeper work we're meant to do, don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid of that. Actually, the very first time I went live on a video was inside a mastermind I was in. This is some years ago now, and I'd never turned on the camera and spoken live to anybody. And I was outside, actually on this piece of property, out in the back, and I was telling a little of my story of origin and some of the things that I'd been through. And I suddenly realized I was going to start to cry on that. And that was the very first time anything like that ever happened. Now, I'm not, maybe it sounds like now like I go through years of life like crying all the time on live calls, and that is not the case. But that was the first time it happened. I was just kind of overcome, and I didn't know what to do. I was holding the camera, and I literally turned around and said, let's look at the view, because I didn't even know how to flip. Actually, you can't do that when you're on video. It won't flip like that. So, and I just kept talking, and then finally was able to pull myself together and continue. But people reached out to me saying, they were in the mastermind saying, this touched me so deeply. I know someone that needs this story. Could I share this? Would you mind if I shared this video with someone I'm close to? And of course I said, yes, that's perfectly fine, because it was gonna help someone else. You just don't know how, when you let yourself shine through, who's out there waiting for your voice, your story, the way you approach things. So I've been thinking a lot about this with YouTube, because there's lots of strategy, and we learn the things, and I teach the things, and I'm learning the things, and I'm doing the things, because I'm re-establishing my YouTube channel that I was shocked to realize I'd started 15 years ago, really not knowing what I was doing, but still had some decent traction. I mean, even now when people say, well, I only got 7,000 views, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Because I'm not there yet. And so, but what I want you to understand, and this is a whole other topic for another video, is that you don't have to have the big audience. You don't have to have the 1,000 subscribers YouTube wants you to have before they'll monetize you. You don't have to have the 4,000 watch hours YouTube says you have to have before they'll monetize you. There are so many ways that you can already monetize, and we'll talk about that on another day. But I just want you to understand, I'm right there with you. If you're like, wow, I don't know about YouTube, can I do it? Yeah, there's days that just feel like, I don't know, is anybody even listening? Is anybody out there? Does anybody even care? Because, I was used to communicating in other ways that had faster, more direct responses in some ways. But here's one of my challenges, is to just say, you know what, take off the marketing hat and just show up. What would happen if you just show up? So I had another plan for what I was going to do for a video for today, but I was awake at 2:22 a.m. Now, how do I remember exactly it was 2:22 a.m. this morning? I don't know. Do you remember that show, Room 222? I don't think I even watched it, but somewhere in my mind, somewhere in the dim recesses of my mind in the early hours, I thought of Room 222 when I looked at the clock and said 2:22. Random thoughts. And that is such an example, though, of how our minds work, because our subconscious, what's under the surface, out of our awareness, remembers everything. And it's just that we tune out a lot of it, sometimes for survival, for peace of mind, because it's just not important anymore. There's a lot of reasons, but it's there. It's in there in those subterranean depths, and sometimes it comes popping up in the weirdest ways, and at an exact time for some whatever reason. But I couldn't get back to sleep, and one of the things that was happening was raining. I'm all cozied up with my fuzzy blanket, and I'm hearing the rain. And in Tucson, that's like a treat. It's not like, oh God, another day of rain. It's like, oh wow, it's raining. It's supposed to rain some more today. I was actually hoping it would, and I was going to do video from my back patio where it's undercover, so we could just hear the rain. Maybe tomorrow, right? Because it's supposed to rain tomorrow as well. But I just wanted to hear it. I just wanted to experience it. I had the door open. We have sliding glass doors in the bedroom, and I had it open a little bit. I wanted to smell the scent of what happens in the desert, and my senses are all tuned in a different way, and I just wanted to be with the rain, the sound of it, the coziness of it. And I just kept thinking about things while I was doing that. And I thought, finally, 4 a.m. or so, I said, okay, just time to get up. So do you ever have mornings like that? I think that's one of the 75 simple things, is sometimes we just wake up and that's it, whether it's 2 or 3 in the morning. So I just wanted to be here to say, wherever you're at in this journey. You're not late. You're right on time for you, whatever was right for you. And we just all need to be who we actually are. And what freedom there is in that, in being able to do that. And I forgot to mention that if you stuck with me to the end here, I was going to give you some I am statements, because when we tell our brain, I am, you're literally retraining it. And speaking of the re words, I was thinking about that too, because we talk about rebooting and recalibrating and all this, but I have other re words, words that start with RE, remembering who we really are, resonating with that, and really just restoring to who we have always been. Always, that core, that soul, your spirit that's in there. It's in there underneath everything else. Remembering that aspect of you, that divinity in you, that's meant for something bigger than just struggling and just getting by and thinking in lack. And so the more we can train our brain, I am, as opposed to I am not, and I don't have this, and I can't do that, you're literally training the neural pathways. You're really changing your brain. You really are. Really. That starts with RE also. And so if you repeat a few simple I am statements, it's our identity that we are shifting, because everything happens at the identity level. You can't live up to something you don't even believe is possible for yourself. And the way you believe for yourself is by shifting what the identity is that you've been hanging on to, maybe for decades, about what you're not capable of doing, or who you're not supposed to be, or who you were told you could never be. So let's just take the simple route of just believing in I am, and knowing that if you just repeat some simple I am statements to yourself every day, and notice when you start thinking the old thought, old stinking thinking, the old negative I can't and I won't and I'll try, and whatever those things are, just notice. And just for that moment, just grab onto one of these I ams. Maybe you want to write down a couple and just, I'm just going to remind myself I am powerful. So let me just give you a few before we wrap it up for today. And I would just so love to hear from you. If this is helpful at all, please tell me you're out there and where you're at with this journey. What would make 75 simple for you, or 50, or 60, or 80, or wherever you may be. So let's do some I ams. Take that deep breath in. Just kind of get your nervous system settled down. I am powerful. I am able to figure out things. I am capable of learning. I am progressing. I am exactly where I'm meant to be. I am powerful. I am wise. I am experienced in the most beneficial ways. I am here. I am meant for more. There's a handful for you. You can re-listen to this and grab some of them if you want. And maybe I'll drop them. We'll have them in the description. That's it. That's the word. I'll have them in the description, because I'll have the timestamps, and you'll be able to find them again if you want to just write down one or two of them. Put it where you can see it every day. Say I am, and something positive, as if it already were happening, as if it already is, and allow yourself to feel the energy of it. Even if you don't quite believe it, even though I don't quite believe this yet, I am willing. See, you can add the even though I'm not quite sure, I am willing. And so you're allowing that little place of, I'm just getting used to this, You don't have to be perfect at this at all. Just be willing. Just be willing. Because you know what? We're not done yet. And it's never too late. It's never too late. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know if this is helpful. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you'd like me to do more of these sort of free forms, let me know that too, because this is Tina Lorenz, and you know what? I will be talking to you again soon. Bye for now.